tonight you are going to talk about this new galaxy and new solar system. What is that about?
Well, it's not. I'm not sure the specific understanding of it. We are entering into our galaxy, and our solar system is traveling. There's nothing that's standing still. So what we are doing is we are traveling in a gigantic circle. Just imagine that there are countless numbers of universes and solar systems in a carousel of light that is going around in a specific circle, and this carousel of light takes about 144,000 years or so to fully, for our universe and not our universe, but our galaxy and our solar system, to actually travel around this. Our ancestors, the Mayan Olmec, who are now being seen as the Mayans, put down information in their Mayan codex about these visitations and the cycles it takes for us to get from one point in this cycle, in this big carousel, to another. At this point, we have reached the end of a specific consciousness time that our galaxy is about to enter into a familiar galaxy with our ancestors. They knew where we were going, because you can't know what the end of time is or what the end of a specific consciousness cycle is unless you've gone through it a couple of times. So how do you know something has ended unless you've known something began, so that it had an ending and that you had been following its course a few times? So imagine now that everything that you thought was relevant around time, everything you thought about that was relevant around the beginning of man, everything you thought that was relevant about history and what it is that you've been taught about the beginning of the universe and all this, just completely take that out of your mind. Everything that we should know, beginning with humanity, is that there was never a time that the human species, or what we call the template of man, was not. In other words, as creation began, or as creation existed, as all things existed, man was always there at the beginning. Man was always a seed of consciousness from the very beginning of all beginnings, if there was such a thing as beginning. So there was never a time that man, the prototype, the type, the architectural structure, or the spiritual seed that became man, that was always. It is forever. It is eternal. There will never be a time that man is not, and there never was a time that man was not. So we are now in a cycle in that progression of humanity, and we are about to go through different galaxies and different solar substructures of the galaxy, and all throughout this universe we are going to be meeting up with other types or other entities that are on this carousel. Now, here's what I'm going to give you a picture. You remember those merry-go-rounds we used to be on when we were kids? You used to want to get on the horse, or you would end up getting on the, on one of these other animals or on the rides. And you've always noticed that one of the one of the carousels or one of the animals always used to seem like it's going faster than the other. You all are going around in the same circle, but one of the animals seemed to be moving faster than the other. The other one looks a little slower. Well, that's who we are. Just imagine our solar system as that. We are traveling around this gigantic carousel of light, and we are meeting up, going into the other neighborhoods or neighborhoods that our ancestors have visited. And now with that interaction, we are now coming into, and you'll notice that NASA is constantly saying, oh, we found a new planet, or there's a new star system, or there's a new, no, you're not finding anything. We are passing into neighborhoods and territories, galactic territories, solar territories that our ancestors have visited before, but because the Europeans themselves were not around at that time, they're now digging up all the evidence of our ancestors' experience with this. So we are coming into the neighborhoods that our ancestors once visited and put down and talked about the visitations of the gods or the interactions with the Nephilim and the neighbourhood and Anunnaki and whatever they name these people or these entities. We are now coming into conjunction and we are seeing them. NASA is picking them up all over outside of our world. They're putting up a whole lot of chemtrails to cover the fact that they're up there. Everything is happening. They've shut down the shuttle program, and they're creating a whole new type of private interstellar spacecraft that can go up and do battle with these entities so that they could defend. They have all kind of Tesla technologies. We're getting ready to go into an incredible new world. And during this time of the year, you see 2012, you're going to be seeing stepped-up visitations from all types of entities that will be coming into, or we will be going into their neighborhood, and they will be visiting our planet. We'll be seeing more of these ships. So I will say to you, brothers and sisters who are in the sound of my voice, get your camcorders ready. Get your iPods or whatever it is that you take pictures with and that can take video cameras with, because you're going to be seeing them regularly from now on. So I just wanted to clarify that we are traveling on this carousel or in this carousel of light, and we're going to be meeting up with a whole lot of different life forms and entities that our ancestors once had interaction and cultural intercourse with, and it's going to be an exciting time.
Now, you said that our ancestors met these entities millions, eon years ago. Have some of those entities stayed on the planet from way back then, or how is that working?
That's a good question. Yes, they have. They've stayed on the planet. They've even interfaced with humanity. Some of them did not interface with humanity, and you would see them in the oceans, especially in the Pacific Rim, which is in the deepest part of our Earth. The Pacific Rim goes 5 miles down underwater, and it's only since we've begun to develop the technology to go 5 miles down. Just imagine the pressure of 5 miles of water on top of you. Only now have we been able to get the technologies to go 5 miles down into the Pacific Ocean, and with that discover whole new species, but also disturb the sanctuary of a lot of these entities who have actually made their homes in this world and essentially have been visiting or at least coming to the surface. Now we are disturbing. The more technologically advanced we become, the more we disturb areas of sanctuary that once belonged to them. So, yes, they've been here. And the moon is an example of one of the sanctuaries that these entities have been hiding out in.
Now, you say that we are going to another side. Now, are you talking about like we're going into a whole solar system, a whole galaxy? I saw a picture. Is it like the figure 8, or is we just going around?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, what it is that all of what we have been made to believe that science has told us was the personality or the idiosyncrasies that made up our solar system. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of our solar system. They show you the sun in the center, and then they take pictures of all of the planets, the first 7 planets, and now it goes up into 10 planets. And then they seem to draw this concentric circle around the sun, giving you the impression that these planets are circling around the sun. Excuse me, it's interesting because that being the case, it's been interesting if the sun is, and again, this is something that has always puzzled me, if the sun is standing still, is the sun standing still and are we circling it? Is the sun staying one place? And if so, how is it staying one place in a universe that is in constant motion? Because that's exactly what the sciences say, that everything is based on motion. Now we come to find out that the sun is actually moving at a rate of something like 42,000 or 43,000 miles an hour. Now, if the sun, with its gravitational influence, is traveling through space at a speed of 43,000 miles an hour, how is it that the Earth, which is infinitesimal compared to the size of the sun, if the sun is moving at 43,000 miles, how is it that the Earth, with its size and girth, is actually circling the sun? It doesn't make sense because something of that magnitude, like the sun with the gravitational influence, could not allow for the Earth to spin around it unless there was some kind of electromagnetic force where there was some kind of repulsive energy. But they're telling you that that repulsive energy and that attractive energy, gravitational and repulsive energies, can only happen and keep you in a concentric focus or orbit if the sun is giving off the same amount of energy at the same time and standing still and maintaining a specific center for that occurrence to happen, for that to be occurring. It doesn't happen that way. What I'm saying is, and what is now being said by a lot of people, and what has been said for years by a lot of scientists but have been refuted and debunked, is the fact that the sun is moving at a certain speed and that we are actually being dragged behind the sun. But the sun's wake is somehow creating a geocentric, if we want to call it, or a ellipsis that takes the shape of a figure 8, which is why the symbol of infinity was so sacred to our ancestors. So the sun is pulling us, and as it's pulling our planet, the planet in the wake of the sun is designing a specific orbit that looks like the figure 8 as it is being dragged. And the seasons that we are getting is based upon where we are at one point or another on that figure 8. The other planets are actually doing their own form around that same figure 8. It sounds crazy, and it's very, very elegant. But to try to figure out how it's done, it is very difficult. So to say that the sun is standing still while we're spinning around it, that has to be rethought. And that's what that figure 8 comes from.
Okay. So that's something like when they told us that the world was flat.
There you go.
Okay. Now, you